So one reason for agile and iteration and sort of what we're talking about here is about managing risk. So in your opinion, how can product leaders or product team leaders best mitigate risk in developing products beyond just that iterative feedback that we just talked about?
Yeah, to me, we often think that Lean and Agile mitigates risk in the sense that, yes, it does help because you have shorter cycles of development, and in that way, it does mitigate risk. But where it does not mitigate risk is figuring out, are you building the right thing? Like, even what informs your first iteration? Like, what are you actually going to try out in the market? If you're not trying the right things, you're never going to find the right answers. And so to mitigate risk, in addition to Lean and Agile, there's some pre-work that's needed. And that's where you have to start with this clarity of vision, where, until now we've always learned that a good vision is this broad statement where it's, something like, we want to be the leader in data storage, right? And I find those visions completely useless. There's one vision that I often use as an example, which is helping society make progress by empowering users to express themselves. Right? It sounds grand. It's exactly the kind of vision that we think is a good vision. The problem with it is, when you say this, anything goes under that vision. So I'll give you an example. My kids have a piano teacher. She is empowering my kids to express themselves and thereby helping humanity make progress, right? So it could be her vision. But this could also be the vision of a social media company or a company that makes stickers. I mean, pretty much anything goes. So this vision is useless. What you need is a detailed vision, the kind that I talked about, and that's why the fill-in-the-blank statement and the radical product thinking approach. That's the first step to mitigating risk, defining the problem and saying what's the solution. Then you have the strategy where you say, well, here's our hypothesis in terms of what are the pain points, what's our solution, what's the engine that helps us deliver on that, and finally, what's our pricing model, our approach for providing training and support, all of these things that are kind of left off and added on afterwards, right? So all of these elements help you mitigate risk because you know what you're going to try out. Then you can use Lean and Agile for hypothesis-driven execution, meaning that, it's kind of like doing algebra altogether, where your math teacher always said, you have to show your work, right? So having this vision and strategy allows you to show your work and say, this is the hypothesis I have. Your Lean and Agile execution then allows you to measure whether it's working or not. And let's say it's not working. You can then go back to your strategy and say, okay, here's what we realized was not working. And so this is going to inform our next iteration. And that's how we can mitigate risk. By making all of your work very traceable, you can show your work and then you can troubleshoot afterwards.